Ahoy, folks. You're with me, Tommy Williams, and we have Pierce Burton on this evening for our great interview. Actually, we've been talking about it for some time on the channel, talking about entrepreneurs, talking about how people have transitioned through the pandemic and regathered perhaps new careers or embellished the ones that they already have. Hopefully. It's all about progress right now with regard to the vaccination and also the forward thrust into just getting back to some sort of normalcy. So tonight, again, I have former NFL player Pierce Burton, and he's going to tell you a little something about his backdrop and currently what he's doing in terms of mortgage lending. So very informative person to have on the chat and a friend of the show. So welcome aboard, Pierce Burton. Thank you very much.
How we doing? Yeah, my name is Pierce Burton. Grew up in California, now live in Florida. Met Tommy actually out on the water. He was jet skiing around. And, I was on my boat with my brother and a couple friends. And, we connected. Kind of how I ended up doing what I'm doing now is, I grew up as a kid, playing basketball. I was actually 6'6" by the age of like 12 years old or something like that. Realized that I wasn't going to grow anymore. Started playing football. Was fortunate enough to get some scholarship offers. Ended up going to 3 colleges. Originally was an engineering major. Went to San Jose State, City College of San Francisco, and then Ole Miss. Left San Jose State because didn't really like, and so to San Francisco, and was fortunate enough to win the national championship in football there. So I ended up with maybe 50 scholarship offers. Jeez. And ended up choosing Ole Miss over UCLA and Florida. Those were kind of my top 3 schools I ended up, considering. And then played in the NFL, also played in Canada, played on 5 NFL teams: the Lions, the Panthers, the Colts, the Vikings, and the Falcons. When I first started in the NFL, I bought my first home and had a little apartment in the back, started renting out that apartment, and realized, hey, I'm not even having to pay much of my mortgage here. I was also renting out a bedroom in my house to my aunt at the time because I was gone half the year because of football. So I was living in my house basically, mortgage free because they were paying the mortgage. And so I said, I think I kind of have something here, might start real estate investing. And first place I thought of for real estate investing was, right around my school at Ole Miss, because I remembered, hey, I lived in this house with 4 of my buddies and we were each paying, $500 a month to live there. The guy was renting it out for, $2,000 a month. And, I actually looked at how much the guy bought the home for, and he only paid like $130,000 for it. Jeez. And so, I looked at those rental numbers in that particular area, and I was like, I could make a killing here in starting investing in Mississippi. So, bought a 4-plex about a block from my college and continued to purchase rental properties. When I got done playing football, the guy who actually had me purchase my first home in California, he had been for years saying, oh, once you're done with football, you should come and work for me and get into mortgages. And at the time I was like, F that, I'm just focused on football, real estate, and maybe go back to school and get an engineering degree, because I ended up switching my and just do that. And then I started thinking about it more, and I said, becoming a mortgage loan officer is to really educate myself to maneuver within my own deals, because financing is the most important part of real estate investing. Being able to move money around and maneuver within the deal from a financial perspective really allows you to maximize your potential for real estate investing and overall growth. And then, so started working all of my stuff in Sacramento, working all my connections, trying to get loans. In the beginning, it was a little slow, and then was very fortunate to become the #1 loan officer at my previous company. And there was about 500 loan officers in the company. And recently, my business initially, actually, me and him moved companies and started, I got my own branch here in Miami, and now we're business partners, and we're bringing on some more people to work with us for the new company we're with, American Pacific Mortgage. So that's kind of a quick overview of kind of where I've been and how I've gotten here.
Very nice. That's a great intro. It's fantastic. We have so many people here who have posted a lot of questions and have sent me questions all afternoon. But again, you did basically, and again, welcome, Pierce. I'm a sports niece, so I had to be on this interview sitting in front of another NFL player, which I love. I am a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. I grew up in a Pittsburgh Steelers family, although I'm from New Jersey. My dad was the biggest Steelers fan, but NFL football's been a part of my life, in terms of just watching, being a spectator, and all that great stuff, cheerleading for various football teams growing up. So it's a part of my blood. So again, welcome to the show. Again, you did answer.
Let me close this door really quickly. Hold on.
Okay. Hi, everyone.
All right, there we go.
Nice photo. The photo that you're in, that's your Ole Miss? Is that the Ole Miss photo?
No, that you can see Falcons right on my chest.
Okay. You know what? I have my readers on. I should be able to. I'm squinting.
That photo is actually.
So with the Atlanta Falcons. Okay.
Yeah,
fantastic.
that photo is actually in the Miami Stadium as well, and the full photo you can see that. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, because I go to the Hard Rock a lot, so I'll be on the lookout for that. And I did some work with the Dolphins a few seasons ago, so I'll definitely be on the lookout for that. I'm going to take a screenshot and send it to you. But thank you for really explaining and telling. That was actually my first question to you, was how did you make the transition from actually being an NFL player and going into mortgages, and now being a partner with American Pacific? That's the current name of the company, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I can talk in more detail about it if you would like, actually.
Sure. Go right ahead.
Yeah. So, I tore my knees twice and actually came back and played. And then in the final game that I played in, I tore my knee again. And as I was rehabbing it, I was on workers' comp, so I had some additional money in. I didn't have to go and try and find a job or anything, because I was getting that workers' compensation. Exactly. And so, I was spending, maybe 4 hours a day, and figured I needed something else to do with my time, because you can only rehab so much. And so I called up my now partner, his name is Josh, and I said, hey, really want to consider this whole mortgage thing, and said, here's the steps that you have to do. And now when we try to bring new loan officers on with our team and everything, the first thing we say is we just want to send that email out of what you need to do and see if the person's actually going to take the initiative to do it.
Right.
Well, he said he sent out that email a bunch of times, and it was kind of a form email almost. And within about a month, I had done all the classes, which in total probably takes about, there's a 20-hour course, and then you need to do probably an additional maybe 50 to 70 hours of studying. And then I had also passed the mortgage exam on my second attempt. The first attempt
that can be pretty difficult.
Now tell me this,
I missed it by one question the first time. You have to get 75%. You have to get 75 questions out of 100 or something, and I got 74. But then I realized
is it contingent state by state for a state by state score, or is it nationwide? You have to get a 75.
The exam is a nationwide exam, and then there's additional courses that you can take in order to get licensed in each particular state. For example, I think Florida's education is only like four hours additional education that you have to do for Florida, and it's just some state specific laws that aren't included in the national rules and regulations. So
right.
Fantastic.
Wow, that's a lot of work involved, and we know a lot of people who are into the industry, real estate, and of course mortgage lending. That's all together. We had an investment property actually in New Jersey what we rented out. I mean, it was a great experience. We had a lot of equity in the house. I mean, it was a lot of equity, and I know we have a lot of people out here who actually are going to be first time buyers. And the number one thing people are asking me, they hear about A+ credit all the time. Mm-hmm. And if you don't have A+ credit, you might have to put a higher percentage down. Normally, I guess it's 20%. Well, it depends on how great your credit is, and of course, if it's a VA or FHA loan and all that, it's a big difference. So sometimes it's almost, people are like, oh my gosh, I wish I would have gone to the service, because I could get the VA loan. Sure. That's always a plus. But with the pandemic, okay, because this is a twofold question. The first one would be like, how can a novice, someone who just really is just going in for this for the first time, in terms of purchasing a home, they don't have the A+ credit. What is your suggestion for them to, when you see it on paper, what types of things could you help them improve to get their score much higher?
So, I mean, there's potential options for people pretty much, 580 credit score and above. Okay. The one thing, like right away, without even having to repair credit,
right?
And then we can run your credit, and then we actually have a tool called a Wayfinder, mm-hmm. and basically what it does is it tells the person a set of instructions on what to do either immediately or over like the next month.
Okay.
And so you can get two options. There's a rapid rescore, which basically as soon as you go and do those things, like it might be as simple as closing a credit card account, paying a credit card off, or opening a new credit card. If you were to do that right away, as soon as it reports mm-hmm. to the bureaus, excuse me,
okay.
Then you can do a repull right away. And I've even it's going to just be whatever the Wayfinder says in terms of how much you could potentially get your score up.
Right.
But I got one gal's score up recently, a few months ago, 100 points in 2 weeks.
You're kidding me. Wow. Now, I hope everyone is listening, because this is good information just all the way around in general. Now, let me ask you, because I know you have, when you report to the different, what is it, Experian,
TransUnion,
and there's one other.
Equifax, yeah.
There you go. So I know these three. When you go through, sometimes you have to write letters. I remember years ago when I was, trying to get all of my paperwork together, get my credit score improved, and I had paid off a lot of things, but I actually had to do a lot of work. A lot of work. I had to actually write letters. I had to call, and it took a while for them to actually delete it off of my report, or just say it was paid, or to improve my credit score. It was a lot of work. Now, this was going back maybe 15 years ago. How has it changed now? Do you still have to go through that process? Is it easier to go through those three sources to get your credit score improve like instantly, or does it take years? How is that working with them?
So you have to dispute that if you are disputing something,
right.
then you are going to have to dispute that, by calling them or doing it online.
Okay.
But what I'm talking about with the Wayfinder is just simple things like paying down certain things, closing accounts, potentially opening some accounts.
Sure.
I mean, I had one person one time, or this has happened multiple times, where they were able to get their score up maybe 30 points, and all they had to do was spend $10 on their credit card because they never spent money on their credit card, or they would spend it and they'd pay it off the next day because they were so worried about having that debt. So everybody's situation's different.
Sure.
But happy to talk anyone through who'd like my help on that sort of thing and anything mortgage or real estate related. Like I said before, the whole reason I got the mortgage business in the first place was to help myself.
Sure.
So my favorite part isn't just entering people's data into computers. It's helping people who are grateful for the help, and you can actually change people's lives with
changing lives. Absolutely.
Just being able to get them financing. So
exactly, and that's a good feeling when something comes back and says you're approved. Especially with investment property. I mean that's something that's longevity. Well, that's something that's going to create your self wealth. I mean, it's always appreciating. It's not depreciating like a vehicle. So, I mean, these are things that just your layman, your novice person just really needs to know, because a lot of people, we want to know, we might not know the questions to ask, but we need experts to be able to give us that knowledge and educate us, even myself. I do also have another question. So I was told that right now in the country, it's a seller's market because of the pandemic. Would you say this is a good time to purchase? Because again, if it's a seller's market, it wouldn't be in a buyer's favor. And what makes it a seller's market versus a buyer's market when you always hear those phrases?
So I would say it's definitely what people consider to be a seller's market. A seller's market means multiple offers. They have their pick of offer different offers, and they can kind of sift through them. They might even have backup offers. So they really control the whole transaction at that point.
Okay.
And they're going to get what they want, right? Because the buyer knows that there's somebody else waiting in the wings if they try to negotiate too much, right? That being said, in terms of real estate investing, I'm looking to purchase at all times because I feel as if I'm going to find a good deal regardless. In whatever market, you can still find a good deal. Additionally, I'll give you a quick example. I have some friends that have been saying for the last 5 years the market are going to crash. I call these type of people doomsdayers, right? And I have some friends, maybe $500,000 on the sidelines, and they go, when the market crashes, I'm going to have 500 grand, and I'm going to be able to buy places at 50 cents on the dollar.
Right.
They'll tell me that, right? So if you think about it this way, they had $500,000 5 years ago, right? If they would have taken that $500,000 and let's say they put 25% down on property with that 500 grand, that's $5 million, right?
Wow.
In property. Now, I would expect that property to bring in, if you're making decent rental property purchases, I would expect that rental property to bring in $20,000 a month, right? 20,000 times 12 months is $360,000 in gross rental income. Now you're going to have your mortgage interest, your property taxes, your insurance, all that sort of thing. But if you took that 360,000 and then multiply times 5 years, that's $1.8 million in gross rents that they missed out on.
Wow.
Right? Not to mention the appreciation of the properties over the last 5 years. Some areas have doubled in value in the last 5 years. So let's just be conservative and say things went up, 10%, right?
Mhm.
That's another 250 grand. So they missed out on 250 grand of appreciation,
Right.
additionally 5 years of pay down, and then
because they wanted to wait.
yeah, because they would have paid down that mortgage as well. They had 5 years of pay down,
Right.
and then lastly, any extra cash flow that was going to be generated from those rentals. So every situation is going to be different because I don't know the expenses, but I would say they probably missed out on close to $1 million at minimum, right? And
Wow.
so if they missed out on $1 million, even if, let's say, the market crashed today,
Okay.
right, and they're able to buy those those properties at 50 cents on the dollar, they're not going to make $1 million. They're going to make 500,000, right? If you look at it that way. So
exactly,
that's why I always think that purchasing when you have the money and the reserves to do it, and it's a good deal in that current market, and the property can cash flow, meaning paying for itself after all expenses, then you should buy. Because even if you look at in 2008 when the market crashed, rents across the board in the United States only went down like a total of 5% or something like that. So because people were losing their homes, so they're still going to need to they're still going to need to rent places. So the thing is as long as the property's cash flow and you're not in some crazy loan where maybe the interest rate's going to go up or there's a large balloon payment or something like that, then you're going to be able to ride that out, and then you wouldn't end up anyway. So it doesn't matter because you're still generating that rental income.
The rental income.
So that's kind of the way I look at the investing side of if it's a good time to buy or not. Now, in terms of buying your primary residence, I think that's going to be more specific to the area that the people are in, right?
Sure.
If you're able to rent for $1,000 a month, but it's going to cost you $500,000 for that same property, I would say rent all day, right? But if you're in a situation where you're already paying $2,500 a month for rent, and your mortgage is going to be under $2,500, why not purchase that place and still pay that $2,500 and keep paying down that property?
Absolutely. Wow. So now when people talk about the 30-year mortgage rate, 60, 35, 40, 15 years, what do you normally suggest for someone who's purchasing their first property? Or would you actually put them in the position of what your suggestion is or what they would fit in? Or would they just, if they give you a timeline, they want to pay the house off in 30 years, 15 years? I guess it would just depend on what they're able to afford, or you can pay a house off early, like you can pay a car off early, right?
So typically I tell my investors always to go with a 30-year mortgage. The reason being is it's not going to affect their debt to income ratio as much. And because their payment's going to be lower, right?
Absolutely.
If you end up on a 10-year, 15-year mortgage, your payment's going to be way higher, and it could affect you down the road for qualifying purposes on an additional property. And so if you take a 30-year mortgage, you can always pay it off early. And so that's why I suggest that. If you're really only wanting to purchase one home in your life and you want to save a little bit on interest, then you can go with that 10 or 15-year mortgage. Another thing for paying off your mortgage early, if you're interested in that sort of thing, is watch some YouTube videos on velocity banking. It's a little too long to describe. It's a little too long of a process to describe here, but basically it has to do with chunking your mortgage down. If you pay a lot of, pay large amounts in the very beginning of your mortgage, then over the long term, you're going to end up paying it off a lot quicker because the mortgage is fully amortized over 30 years. But the velocity banking breaks it down into even more more of a process and really teaches you how to do that.
Okay, velocity banking, everyone, for our viewers, velocity banking. Okay, and again, you can find that on, just go on YouTube, like you can YouTube everything under the sun. We have a viewer here, Janine McCaskill. She says she's 50 years old and she wants to know, is it too late for her to get a 30-year mortgage because of her age?
No, not at all. Yeah, she can totally get a 30-year mortgage.
Okay. Okay. All right. Let's see. China Black, real estate is selling quickly here in Manhattan, in New York, due to people being in extended lockdown. They want to live in a comfortable place. So, what do you feel about that? Pierce, I can't.
Is that a question? In terms of what now? It's
it's kind of like she's making a statement. I just want to know if you agree or not agree with that question.
I don't really have that good of a hold on the New York market, so I don't really know that much about what's going on there in terms of.
So you're based you're right here in South Florida, correct?
Yeah, and then a lot of my investor clients are purchasing properties in the South and Midwest, just because there's much better price than kind of on the coasts. And then I do have a lot of clients in California as well, just because I grew up there.
Exactly. Now with the earthquakes, I mean, is there something I know there's protection, insurance protection, and someone wanted to ask if with the earthquakes, I mean, do you provide any type of extended services if you purchase a home on the West Coast, particularly in California?
So that would all just be through the insurance company. As a mortgage company, we wouldn't have anything to really do with that.
Okay. Let's see. Now, okay, you told us about yourself. We talked about credit, the best way to clean it, and again, Wayfinder, that would be the best way to go for the approval. Pierce, your email address. Can you just give us your email address, how anyone can get in contact with you if they're purchasing a home? Would they be able to go through you to get their mortgage loan, or would they only have to go through the realtor company? I know they have their own mortgage companies that they use, but if you wanted to go, for instance, come to American Pacific, would you be able to request that?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, most of my clients probably come to me directly, and then I end up helping them find a realtor who I trust, or they just go and purchase on their own, maybe for sale by owner, or they go and find a realtor themselves. In terms, my email address is Pierce, PIERCE .BURTON @apmortgage.com. And then that's my work email. And then my personal / real estate email is Pierce, PIERCE, Burton, BURTON, 1 @gmail.com.
Okay. I'm jotting this down myself. I know we have some of the Tommy Cats who are jotting down, and it might actually get put in the chat. I just want to make sure I have it.
I'll type it in as well.
Okay, so it's Pierce Burton, in terms of your personal, Pierce Burton 1 @gmail.com.
Yep.
Okay.
And the work email is pierce.burton @apmortgage.com.
Got it. Okay, so everyone, I hope you heard that, and this is great. A lot of information. Again, with the pandemic still continuing, a lot of properties, of course, you're going to do virtual tours, or sometimes there were a couple of places I know that I've seen, in a couple of my friends who are looking at properties here, they actually just go and they have a mask, I'm right. I need this. So, and basically, how do you, with the pandemic, how do you feel in terms of looking for property? What do you suggest with the pandemic?
So, I've always kind of been of the belief that if you're looking for a property, you really don't have to see it. I've bought properties that I've never even seen in person before I bought them. In fact,
right.
The condo I'm in right now, I bought it, or I got under contract on it before I had even seen it in person. But I had been to the area before. So me personally, my comfortability is that I want to go, if I'm going to invest in like an area outside of where I live, I'm going to go and actually drive around that town, because some real estate investors, they'll buy out of state and never even been to the place where these properties are. And my feeling is that don't drive around it. You might not have a good idea of the property and the area because you're going to see how busy the town is, how the industry is, what the potential like nightlife and restaurants are, what type of people are walking around during the day.
Right.
And those are things that you can't know without at least visiting the particular area. But you don't need to see the properties because you can kind of, and that sort of thing. So, it's becoming with the pandemic thing. Additionally, I think more people are spending time and more people are moving and living everywhere now. So there's going to be as large a concentration in cities all the time because people can live everywhere. So I think moving forward, we're going to see more uniform prices throughout the country, and maybe some of those, less expensive states kind of come to par with other ones. If you look at some other countries, that has sort of happened with the way kind of our country's kind of going in that same direction, I think.
Right. That's really good information as well. What regions in the country? I know there was a poll in terms of the top 5 cities to live in, and it was based on not even the economic state, but based on just the pricing. And I have the top 2. One was Wisconsin, Milwaukee, Wisconsin was on the list. Biloxi, Mississippi
was on the list of what you actually
in terms of like purchasing the best places to live based on home pricings.
Got it.
Where do you find geographically might be the best places to live in terms of affordability at this time?
I think a lot of the southern states, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee is really taking off in terms of price. I think Tennessee is going to be the next Texas in terms of, people moving there and things being more expensive there. I think Ohio's not far off from Tennessee in terms of that happening. Wisconsin, areas like north of Chicago are kind of taking off. People are vacating that city. So areas like Racine and some of those areas there, I think, are going to be desirable areas.
Okay. Let's see. Tommy, I know you had a few questions too, so I'm going to let you take the helm right now.
So Pierce, in terms of the pandemic, how are things moving in terms of like the trend in the market? Do you see anything like more properties becoming available? Do you deal with foreclosures as well?
I've personally only purchased one foreclosure. I bought that last year. It was a crazy good deal though. It was 6 single family homes.
Wow.
And 2 triplexes for $350,000, and I refinanced out of it, and it appraised somewhere between 6 and 700,000. I can't remember. Like 5 months later. Or
wow.
something.
Where was this located, Pierce?
That was in Mississippi.
Okay. So, exactly. There you go.
Yeah. I was thinking that market would probably be big to tap into right now. Foreclosures and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of different places have moratoriums on them, but I think once those are up, we're going to see of foreclosures. But I talked to a lot of like local banks and that sort of thing, and they actually, most of them are telling me that they've never seen better numbers in terms of people paying everything on time. So once that moratorium's up, I think we'll see a lot of foreclosures hit the market, but I don't think we're going to have very many foreclosures after that, because people actually have more money than they've ever had right now. So everyone's paying their stuff on time with all the PPP loans. And
yeah. Stimulus credits, child credits, all these things are going on. Yeah, that is true.
Programs. I was trying to figure out how I could claim a few kids. So.
We were talking about that today. I said, wow, I have a friend. She has 7 kids. I said, okay, there you go. That's a good thing. But this is great. I wanted to, years ago, before we purchased our investment property in Jersey, we were looking, they had a huge, you were able to order this foreclosure book. And it was very like a phone book. It was a stack, and you flip and you go through all these homes that are foreclosed, and you just purchase them, go to the site, the auctions and things of that nature. And but we ended up just purchasing the investment property. But I know a lot of people, another question they were talking about was foreclosed homes today. Would you suggest, where can they find, I guess you can of course go online, but do you have anywhere specific where people can go to look for foreclosed homes nationwide?
Well, so obviously for those foreclosed homes right now, there's a lot of competition. Mm-hmm. So you could obviously look at like auction.com. I know that's a website. I haven't personally purchased on there, but I have had some clients and friends that have purchased on there. Where I got my foreclosure is I actually called around to some local banks and just to see which properties they were potentially going to foreclose on. So then I could get the jump on everyone else, and before other people potentially had the list. In fact, the one that I was talking about, literally I asked the banker, I go, where did you guys advertise this foreclosure? And they said, oh, in the local paper. And I'm like, wow. You mean in the town that has 25,000 people?
Wow.
And they're like, yeah, we ran one ad on the back page in the local paper. And I'm like,
something?
No wonder I was able to.
You have to be in the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
This is great information. We're getting a lot of feedback, and I'm getting a lot of feedback on my phone, as a matter of fact. So auction.com, and of course the banks, once you can probably get a list. If you have inside track with someone who works in a bank, they'll probably let you know before that listing comes out. And there you have it in terms of foreclosures, everyone. Let's see. Anyone else have another?
I saw someone just said Australia real estate has tripled through the pandemic. Australia was actually, when I was talking about real estate in the United States being uniform throughout in terms of price, Australia was the first country that came to mind. I have a few buddies that live in Australia, and they were telling me how basically it doesn't matter where you live, stuff is expensive.
Yeah. I see Apple Crescent. She just sold her home, she said, for $500,000. She's in Australia. I'm not sure where exactly, but that's more. So again, and I think she said it sold within I can't go back to the comment, but within like days or minutes or hours or something. So there you go. That's a seller's market. And I know, with what's been going on in terms of the pandemic, with closing down, I mean, I wasn't able to even send packages there to one of our super cats, Apple Crescent. Hey, Apple Crescent, because everything's locked down. I mean, it's open one day, the next day it's shut down for 2 weeks, open 2 days, it's shut down. So I mean, I could see that probably with Australia, doing that with the pandemic. I mean, people, they want to sell. Maybe someone's interested. I don't know how much interest you're getting on the property, but if it's a seller's market, you're getting what you're asking for. You're pretty much, there might not be a bidding war, I guess.
Yeah.
So.
I'm sorry, Pierce, did you see the question regarding age? One of our Tommy Cat, 50 years old, and she wants to know if it's too late for her to get a 30-year mortgage.
Yeah, we went over. Yes,
okay.
He answered that.
Yeah. I was wondering about the coffee loans and those other different programs. Do they still exist? Are they still
coffee loan? I've never heard that term. I'm not sure what that means.
Yeah. It was like
I don't drink coffee, so
yeah. It was one of those balloon mortgages, man. That I guess that product didn't last too long. I actually used to do some loan officing when I met Nita. Actually, I was a loan officer with a mortgage company out of Jersey, and I remember one of the loans that we didn't sell too much of was a coffee loan. I was curious.
When was that?
1990.
Yeah.
5.
Yeah, around 1995. Yeah.
You were still in elementary school. You were like 4 years.
I was 4 years old.
Oh my God! Yeah, you're like a toddler. So that's a whole other story. I don't want to age.
Yeah, now you see why I'm quiet over here. Go ahead, Nita. You're doing great.
Good question, Stacey Ames. I like this question from Stacey.
Roast me up.
Stacey's asking. This is great because this is something that's hot right now. A lot of people are trying to get on board with this. Airbnbs. What do you think about? Thank you, Stacey Ames. What do you think about Airbnbs for an investment property? Mm-hmm. I hear a lot of that. What do you think about
that? I personally haven't done Airbnbs for one major reason, and that's because I'm so busy with all my mortgage stuff and acquiring properties and that sort of thing that I want to be as hands off as possible on the actual property management side. So I have like 70 something units, and I probably only spend maybe an hour to 2 hours a month actually being involved in anything management. And most of the time it's just like one of my managers texting me and saying, hey, this pipe burst.
Okay.
You're put on it. It's going to cost, this one's going to cost $200. This other one's going to cost $100. The $200 pipe will last 10 years longer, kind of thing. And that's the only thing I have to worry about. So I would say Airbnbs, kind of be prepared to do more work. And then also when you're like crunching your numbers, I would way underestimate like how much you're going to make and overestimate what the costs of cleaning and all of that things are going to be, because you want those margins to be high enough for it to be worth your own personal time. Time is money. And so, the more properties I've acquired and, busy I've gotten in the mortgage industry, I've tried to limit all of the things that take up time. Like I don't think I've cooked a meal in a year because
come on over here. I'm always cooking something. You're more than welcome.
I'm a good cook. Like, I miss my cooking, but the thing is I realized I was spending, 2 hours a day cooking and going to the store. And I'm like, if I spent those 2 hours having fun or going out, making connections or working, all of those things are more valuable to me. And I value my time more than saving a few bucks cooking my own meals. So that's kind of why I went to that.
Perfect. We have Jamila Williams. She said and this is, I think, Tommy, you congratulated her on this a few days ago, if I'm not mistaken. She says, a home I bought was on the market for 1 week and you jumped on it. So Stacy, Jamila, congratulations
Awesome.
on that. I don't know you're in New York, I believe, right? What part of New York are you in? What borough? So we can kind of get an idea.
Bliss, New York.
Where?
Zamila's in Bliss, New York.
Bliss, New York. So that's upstate?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I offered on like 6 homes before I got my first home. And the only reason I got it is it was listed the day before Super Bowl Sunday. I found it and offered on Super Bowl Sunday.
Wow.
And nobody was out looking for homes. And
Who was playing in that Super Bowl? Who was playing in that particular Super Bowl?
That was only in 2017. So I have no idea who was playing the Super Bowl.
Okay.
This is kind of funny, but football puts me to sleep. I fall asleep.
Tom Brady wasn't doing it for you this year with Tampa Bay?
Well, it's because I have a good reason for it. So I would sleep, or I would try not to fall asleep in meetings. So, you get about 5 hours of meetings a day. They cut the light. First you go eat, and then you go work. Then you go work out, then you go eat again, and then they tell you to sit in a dark room and watch film for 3 hours of the same thing over and over again. Coach rewinding it, going again. So you're the whole time. Everybody in the meeting is like this, right? and so it's just natural for me. You flip on football and I'm falling asleep. That's like,
I mean, that's the contrary.
From
an NFL player to say that football puts him to sleep. I mean, wow. That is I was watching the ESPYs actually on Saturday. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they won like the team of the year. And it was, it was a really, I love the ESPYs. They had it in New York on a rooftop. I'm not sure exactly where, but they were like near the Hudson, because I was worried about they were probably on the Hudson somewhere, off of the Hudson. But it was interesting to watch. I mean, what do you feel about? I'm just kind of going to go a little off topic a little bit, and just your personal, because this is kind of like a hot topic right now. So there was the Olympic trials, and there was a track runner, sprinter. Her name's Sha'Carri Richardson from Dallas, Texas. She went to LSU. She actually broke the record, winning the 100-meter dash. She was going to Tokyo. A couple of days later, they tested her, or maybe the same day, I'm not sure, found marijuana in her system. So they suspended her for her particular track meet, her area. And she's still running with the Olympic team, the relay team, in her leg, but she cannot compete within her race. What do you think about the whole Olympic team and the association suspending her for smoking marijuana? Because that's not an enhancer.
So I heard about this, and so she is still allowed to run
She's allowed to run with her another particular category. So she's not going to run her main heat, which is 100 meters. She's going to run the relay.
That doesn't make any sense.
She's going to run the relay race with the team, but she cannot run in her main race.
I knew she couldn't. I had heard about this whole thing, but I didn't know she's allowed to run in one, but not the other. That sounds kind of like hypocritical. Basically,
exactly. That's the last what I heard. But she's competing in another competition after her 30 days suspension's over.
I mean, and she was supposed to be like the best one, right? Is that correct?
Well, yeah, she actually took first in the 100 meters.
Yeah. So I mean, the way I see it is the United States, they want to have the team win, right? So they want and it's the team winning, not her. So
exactly.
They're okay with that, but then they're not okay with her winning individually because her than the United States. So
Right.
they don't want that blemish on the United States. That sounds pretty hypocritical to me.
We're gonna fact check that because someone's saying that she cannot run the relay. Tommy, can you Google that real quick? So we want to just double check that because at first we heard that she was able to run, and I just got someone saying that she's not able to run. So we're gonna just fact check that. But after her suspension, she's able to go right back into the field of course, track and field. But she'll be running different races. She just won't particularly be in the Tokyo Olympics in a couple of weeks. Actually.
So I would say this. You know, when I played in basically the only thing I really don't like about professional sports is most of the time, unless you're like one of these superstar players, you basically have to be who they want you to be and not who you truly are as a person. You have to project an image of something that the coaches, the GMs, the scouts all want to see in you. So me, the big white guy, so I'm supposed to be like the try hard, smart guy who, you know, says yes sir, no sir all the time, and basically Captain America. It was kind of what I felt like what my persona was supposed to be when I was there. And so, you try to, I guess, fit that, because if you don't, you're not going to be successful. So it was actually very freeing to me because I felt like I finally, for the first time, could actually like be who I truly am. And so, with this gal, who was smoking marijuana, I feel like it's the same sort of thing. If you don't fit who the powers that be wants you to be in sports, then they, on to the next one. There's a lot of people who want to run in the Olympics, play in the NFL, do all those sort of things.
They're hungry. They're just as hungry. I just think maybe it was her surroundings, that kind of influenced her, perhaps. I mean, there are a lot of different things. I mean, she's pretty outspoken. She's 21, and she's just kind of like, living her life. But again, you kind of have to respect the sport, because again, anything in your system that is not natural, not to say that marijuana is not natural, because it is. We have medicinal marijuana. However, I believe somewhere in your contract, when you are competing for trials or the Olympics, you cannot partake in any type of recreational drug, of course. So I think that's where the fine line was. That's why they couldn't just uplift it and give her a pass and say, just, go ahead,
Yeah, so I mean, advocating the other way, it's kind of like that movie, Coach Carter, where Coach Carter makes his players sign a contract, saying you must maintain a 2.5 grade point average to help the players, but they only had to have like a 2.0 to play, and so he said, I'm not going to let you guys play, and then he caught all the heat for it. So he agreed to it.
True story.
So at the same time, you can argue in both cases.
Exactly. Well, again, if you do the crime, you pay the time. I mean, the law is the law, and if it's written, etched in stone, you have to pretty much comply and just go ahead with the rules. I mean, if you want to compete to it, especially to on that type of level. I mean, I would just think, that's when I hear of a lot of professional NFL players, NBA players, that do get caught doing certain things. I mean, like, you're jeopardizing your career. I mean, you have millions of dollars on the line, and you just do something to literally, you can destroy your entire career, whether it be domestic violence, or fighting, bar brawling, potentially, attempted murder, anything, anything to the extreme. You're really putting your livelihood, at risk, and it's just like you're just throwing all away. I know there's a lot of pressure on that level with being a professional athlete, but when you have that much money financially on the line, I would just say second guess a few things. I don't.
100%.
You just hear about the rants that go on, and it just happens. I mean, everyone's human, of course, so you can't just say no one's, beyond being, a person, and everyone has feelings and emotions. But I think you need to probably, just kind of keep yourself where you need to be until you get out of the whole professionalism and that as an athlete. And that just goes with work too. I mean, there's certain rules you have to comply to with work every day. I mean, everyone has to follow some type of a rule.
Mm-hmm.
So I just feel like, okay, I just feel, strongly about that. Just follow the rules. Although, some people might say it's corny, but follow the rules. I mean,
well,
that's all.
I would say it's always about your own personal brand. And if you're
Sure.
and if you're going to do things to jeopardize your own personal brand, like Jordan catches a lot of heat for not like talking one way or another about like political matters and all of that sort of thing, not standing up for that sort of thing. But the one thing you can't say is that the reason he's doing that is because he wants he literally said, he goes, everybody buys sneakers. And
right.
so he's keeping his side of the street clean for business purposes. Now that doesn't have to be everybody's, ideals, and they can follow their morals. But if you want to be, I mean, Michael Jordan's the pinnacle of success for sure.
Right, absolutely.
So he's doing something right.
So that's in terms of being a mentor. A lot of people, a lot of celebrities, a lot of athletes, sometimes they don't want to even be referred to as a mentor. I know you have a younger brother who plays football for Princeton, and again, he's right at that age, at the cusp, where he's right getting ready to change his whole life and transition into something bigger than the dreams that he, of course, has dreamed of as a child. And I'm sure you're his mentor, and he looks up to you. How would you feel, about with your brother in that situation, perhaps?
He's a little shit, is what he is.
I mean, I'm just saying, it's just a question I'm posing.
Oh, in terms of if he was
like, if he got into his, just a scenario. I mean, it could be anything. I mean, you would just, as a mentor, because you're his mentor, and I know you do a lot of mentor programs in the area. Like, what would
sure.
How would you actually talk with him about it?
So, I mean, I would just talk with him and basically say, what was going through your head when you were doing that. Basically saying, I always talk to him about what you do right now could determine your trajectory for the rest of your life. I mean, I know that sounds like puts a lot of pressure on him and all that sort of thing, but in sports, there's such a thin margin for error, especially nowadays.
Absolutely.
The difference between like the worst quarterback in the NFL and Tom Brady is like this. It's not a big difference in comparison to the rest of the world. Like, and so every little thing you do could, get him a draft in the first round, get a big contract, set him up for the rest of his life. And so I just always tell him to keep his side of the street clean and, sacrifice a few years so you can, live the rest of your years like a king.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what it's all about.
His brother has the luxury of being here over the summer. How's your brother doing? Tell me his name again there, Pierce.
His name is Jonathan.
And, Jonathan, that's right.
Yeah, so he's just here over the summer working out. He eats about 8 times a day.
Tell him to come on over.
Those guys were huge when they came out of the water. I both had a jet ski, and I was like, "Holy smokes!" Everybody's crouched down. You're at the creek. Everybody's kind of crouched down and enjoying the vibe of the water and stuff. But then when you stand up, I was like, "Geez." So his brother's sensational
The
statue.
next time we're out on the water, I'm going to have lots of smorgasbords ready for everyone. So it'll be my treat. So you can
really looks
sample my cooking.
Yeah, my
I do it all.
My brother's 19 and he's 6'5", 290.
Oh my
Yep.
So is he on the line? Is he on the line?
Yeah, he plays left tackle at Princeton. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Very nice. Well, I'm looking forward to that. It's very good. We have virtual hugs coming, and let's see what else do we. Okay, so we have all the information.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and put this up here again for here's the email address and things. We're gonna definitely, be referring to.
This is great. Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah,
I actually just started a Instagram page for my mortgage and real estate stuff as well. If anybody wants to follow me on there, I've been trying to post like 1 or 2 times a day, just like short little tips on mortgages, real estate investing, that sort of thing. Somebody told me I needed to do it, so I am the worst person with technology. The first video took me like 2 hours to figure out how to edit a 1-minute video.
It could be a little technical there. How can we find? What's your Instagram page?
So I have my personal Instagram, which has way more followers right now since I started.
Okay.
I believe it's at Pierce Burton, and that's when I just kind of post, when I was doing that and just stuff from my life, and then the real estate officer is what it is. Yeah, I had to look.
Okay, I have it right here. Okay, now I'm following you. Okay, so now that's under person. Now your second one is the real. That's me.
Estate officer one, literally like
the real estate officer.
Yep.
Okay, viewers, please get that down. We're going to put that in the comments. The real estate officer. All one, of course, it's all one word. Did you have no hyphens or underscoring, or just all one word?
Nothing. Yeah. So it's fun. It's funny. My friends back home, they have this joke where they don't even refer to me as Pierce anymore. They just call me officer or the officer. And so I tried to get the Instagram the officer, but obviously that was already taken. So I thought the real estate officer was the next best thing.
That's a good one. I have you right here. Perfect.
But it's a total joke that they
Okay, so I'm following you on both, and we'll put that in the comments. I'm going to do that right now. Tommy, you can continue. I'm typing in right now.
All right, and then I'll go ahead and post it up there. But Pierce, thank you so much for your time, man. And we'll definitely be tapping in with you. I also told Pierce about the dating game, folks. Pierce, I don't know if you're dating or are you single or married or what's your status?
I'm single. Yeah.
Yeah. So we have Pierce here. Eligible
bachelor. Trying to get on this dating game thing.
It's a trap, man.
I think my earphones just cut out. I think here. I don't know what happened here. Hold on. I can't hear you. Hold on 1 second.
I'm typing everything in.
There we go. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. I think the earbuds ran out of batteries there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I'll be back. You going out there this weekend? You going out on the boat this weekend?
Yeah, I'll probably go out on the boat. We moved it down here to Miami now, so probably.
Oh yeah, that's right. You did say you were.
Yeah.
Making that move, sure. Okay.
Yeah, we got the dock space right underneath the condo now.
Oh.
So.
Can't beat that.
Yeah, just walk downstairs. Nice. Walk downstairs, hop on the boat. It's pretty great.
Nice. That's what you need for that doctor. I still have my jet ski. I love my jet ski. When I first moved to South Florida, that was the one thing I was going to get. It was a scooter and a jet ski. So Didn't get the scooter. I don't think I kind of moved away from that. I had a jet ski and I love it. I'm like a thrill seeker. So it's like I get out on that water and I'm just like having I feel like a kid all over again. It's great. It's just a good adrenaline. So I love it.
Yeah, on the scooter, people drive too crazy down here, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. But this is the #1 state of accidents. I mean, like you can just find an accident at every corner.
You people on the jet skis try to hit me every weekend on the boat.
They're flying around.
They have the patrols out there. They have the patrols out there, so you have to be very careful.
Yeah, the jet skiers are nuts.
I stay within the speed range, so I just like until they say okay, you can go in the certain zone, but it has to be totally free and clear because I don't want to get hit by a boat.
My brother
My
brother was telling me he fell off a jet ski up at some lake at his teammate's lake up in Minnesota, going 60 miles an hour and skipping a rock.
Oh, that's fast. That's fast. That is really fast.
Thank you so much for coming on, Pierce. We're gonna go ahead and close things out, and we have lots of information. Great backstory for you, man. And it sounds like things are definitely up and running. I know as you move along, we're gonna get some names from the chat. We're gonna get some interested. I have some prospective people, also some fraternity guys. I want to try to get this thing to. This is the launch, man, and welcome again to my channel, my wife, and
thank you for having me.
And perhaps I'll see you over the weekend, pal.
Look forward to seeing you out on the water again. Thank you so much, Pierce Burton, American Pacific. NFL to mortgages, and we are loving this. And thank you for the information, everyone. Please comment, let us know some more information. If you have questions, we'll give everything over to Pierce, and we'll make sure he gets your questions answered. Again, thank you everyone for tuning in. Tommy Cats, we love you. Super Cats, we love you too, of course. And this is the Tommy Williams Show. I'm your co-host, Renita, signing off. Have a good evening, everybody. Bye, Pierce. It's nice meeting you in person.
Nice to see you, man.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, take care.
Bye.
Bye.